So what is going on, people? It's Kim here and welcome back to my FUT 17 player rating predictions. Today, as you can see, we are going through the Crystal Palace squad. Now, when I was going through this last night, I used an app called Squawker to get some of the stats, and you can download it on your iPhone. This isn't a promo, by the way. I wish it was. But basically, some players it was unable to give me information on, so I've missed some players out. But we've got a starting 11 and a couple of subs, so that's not too bad in my opinion. And some of these players I will be elaborating on in quite some depth, so if you're a Crystal Palace fan, I think you will actually quite enjoy this video. So let's get started, and we've got a goalkeeper who I wouldn't usually put in to one of these videos because he has only played 2 games this season, and I kind of have like a 10-game rule where I won't talk about them if they haven't played haven't played any more than 10 games. If that makes sense. Yeah, I think I said that right. You guys get what I mean. So if they played more than 10 games, then I will talk about them. But if not, or 10 or more, anything less than 10, I probably won't talk about them. But I wanted to talk about Speroni because, in my opinion, he's one of the most underrated goalkeepers in the Premier League. I think he's such a good goalkeeper. He's got the 77 rating, obviously, and I don't think that's going to change. It'd be too harsh to decrease that or increase that unless EA change the way that they grade players again, obviously, and make it harder to get higher overalls, which I think they probably should do. But yeah, if it is to stay under the same sort of system, whatever it is they do go off, I do think that he should stay the same, because I think deducting would be too cruel on him when he's only played 2 games, and also increasing would be quite unfair as well. But like I say, he's only played 2 games this season. Pretty sure he was injured. Now, I couldn't actually find it, but yeah, he's still a favourite with the Crystal Palace squad. And yeah, he's 37 years old, still pretty good in my opinion. And like I said, I do think he's he's so highly underrated in my opinion. He actually equalled Crystal Palace's all-time most goalkeeper appearances as well, and he only played 2 games last season. So that for me that's just something else. That's absolutely fantastic. What an achievement for him, and what an achievement for the club. Without a doubt, he plays such a key part. When he is fit and when he can play. He's a great keeper, and like I say, he just plays such a key part in that Crystal Palace lineup. And I think when he is fit, 100% he's in there straight away. He's got to be for me. Moving on from him, someone who's thankfully played more games this season, we've got Joel Ward. Again, I'm going to speak a lot about this guy because I really, really rate Joel Ward. I've followed him for so long, and I just really like him as a player. I think he's absolutely brilliant. He's only 76 rated on this, and that for me is absolutely criminal. He deserves to go up to a 78 in my opinion. I have written down here, is one of the most underrated fullbacks, one of the most underrated players in the Premier League in my opinion. He's played 30 games for Crystal Palace just the season that's just finished. Played 29 full games and was only subbed off once for them. I'm not sure if that was due to injury or maybe he was booked or something. But yeah, he definitely plays a key part in that Crystal Palace squad, and for me, he's got to be one of the first names down on that team sheet. He's only made 1 defensive error, which is, again, for a defender, that is pretty good. Defenders obviously have to defend a little bit more, and he's only made the 1, so that for me is brilliant. 4 yellow cards as well, which again it's probably about average for a defender, I'd say. It's difficult not to be in the book when you're a defender. Sometimes you got to take one for the team. Sometimes you just are. Strikers, wingers and strikers are so clever now in the Premier League. There are so many that are looking for the foul and stuff, and it is difficult to not, commit some. when you are a defender. He's created 13 chances as well this season, and I've seen a lot from him. He seems to be very good going forward, and also have that kind of balance where he's good defensively as well. He's also scored 2 goals this season as well. So yeah, Joel Ward, just a player that I've really, honestly, just really do rate. I absolutely love him. He's pretty good in the game as well. I played a few times with him. That sounds so wrong, but you guys know what I mean. And yeah, he's pretty good in the game as well, especially in like career mode when he develops. I think I got him up to like an 82, and he was pretty solid. Next up, we've got Scott Dann. Now, this is one of the players who I think is slightly overrated. The fact that he has got an 80 rating and Joel Ward has only got a 76 does make me question things a little bit. I'm pretty sure he actually got an upgrade. I'm not sure though, but I think he did get an upgrade. I think he's either going to keep that 80 or he possibly could go down to a 78. This is just my opinion, guys, but if I was, in charge of the FIFA overalls, the ultimate team, not just ultimate team, but players overalls, I would take him down to a 78, 'cause I don't think he's rated here higher than Zuma's original card. I'm pretty sure Zuma, if we just check very, very quickly, I'm pretty sure Kurt Zuma, who in my opinion is by far a better centre-back, is actually only rated 78, I think. He might have got an upgrade. He did get an upgrade to an 81. 79, look. So, yeah, for me, to be fair, yeah, they did upgrade Zuma, but I just think, I don't know, I don't really think he deserves that much. That's also higher rating than Gabriel as well from Arsenal, and I'm not sure if he is better. I think they're probably on a similar sort of level. Now, the reason that I don't really like Dan that much is because he is a little bit reckless. He seems quite a dirty player. I'm pretty sure it was him that took out Aguero earlier on this season, and I can't remember if I think he only got a yellow for it, but it was one of them that should have been a red. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was him. And yeah, I've written down here, he does seem quite reckless at times, but he's made 35 appearances for Crystal Palace, and all of them have been full games, so he hasn't been subbed off or subbed on. 35 appearances in the Premier League, so that is, only not playing 3 games. And that does just go to show that he's been quite a favourite, in the defence. And although I might think that he is reckless, obviously, he does have a key part in the Crystal Palace defence. He's also scored 5 goals this season as well, and has only made 2 defensive errors. However, he has managed to rack up 7 yellow cards. He's created 10 chances, despite being a centre-back. I think that's pretty good. And has got himself 1 assist as well. Moving on, I have got Damien Delaney, the Irish centre-back for Crystal Palace. Again, I think he's had a pretty good season, to be honest. I would say he's more disciplined than Scott Dann. 75 rated, and I've estimated he could go up to a 77. 32 appearances, all of which were full games as well. 2 goals, only 2 defensive errors, 2 yellow cards, which for a centre-back, in my opinion, that is brilliant. I think only 2 yellow cards in 32 games, that is absolutely brilliant. So definitely seems to be more disciplined than Dan, but maybe that's Dan's role, to go forward and to take, them kind of challenges with the team, whereas Delaney sits back a bit and, perhaps, like the Koscielny and Mertesacker type of thing, where Koscielny's the one who'll go out and commit like a big slide challenge, and Mertesacker will kind of stand back because he's less pacey. And yeah, that could be part of it. I'm not sure, but yeah, he's made 2 defensive errors, 2 yellow cards. and has created 10 chances in total this season, and has managed to get himself 3 assists as well. So with some of the players, they do have assists, but I simply the app wasn't quite clear of how many assists they had, so with some I will miss them out, so I do apologise about that, but I'm only trying. The next up is Soiree, I think that's how you pronounce his name. If not, I do apologise. A very young centre-back who is really well liked. I saw a lot of this guy earlier on in the previous season, just like from Arsenal fans that, you know, just really rated him. And obviously, you know, me following Arsenal, being a part of Arsenal Twitter and football Twitter, I did see a lot of hype around him, and a lot of people were saying, "Oh, he's, you know, give him a season or two, and he's going to be a big player." And yeah, I had a look at some of his stats, and some of them are pretty good. He's well liked for his pace, as you can see there. He has got the 81 pace card. Did I tell you guys that I think he'd go up to a 77? So either remain 76 rated or go up to 77. I couldn't remember if I'd told you or not. Played 34 appearances and was only subbed off once in all of those appearances, so that is pretty good. Didn't score, but he is a fullback, you know. 1 defensive error in total. 6 yellow cards and 1 red card, so he's probably going off this. If I just tell you the next one, where it says he's created 27 chances, so this shows me, going off them, that he likes to get forward. He's good going forward because of his pace. He's also good because he can get back, because he's quick enough to get back. But maybe just needs to improve his defensive game a little bit. Maybe because he's rushing back, he's rushing into challenges and stuff. So maybe try and kind of reminds me of Bellerin a little bit. Hector Bellerin is fantastic, going forward. He needs to work on his crossing a little bit, but he's good going forward. He's a real threat going forward. But yeah, I think defensively Hector, he has been good in some situations, but I do think he's still got a lot of work to do defensively. But I think, like Bellerin, if Soiree can improve his defensive game, have a more disciplined defensive approach, I think he could become a really good fullback for Crystal Palace. And moving on to the midfield, guys, we have got Wilfried Zaha. He hasn't got the best stats for the Premier League, but I remember watching him in the cup final against United, and he played such a key part in that game. He was just running up and down that wing, attacking and then back defending. He was really, really good. Had such a good game. I think they'd miss a good chance towards the end there, if I do remember. But yeah, 77 rated, could go up to an 80 for me. If Scott Dan deserves an 80, I think Zaha deserves an 80. 34 appearances this season with 2 goals, 5 yellow cards, and he's created 41 chances. There were some assists in there, but like I say, it wasn't clear on how many assists he actually had, so I do apologise about that, but blame the app, not me. Moving on, we've got Jason PUNCHEON, another really underrated player in my opinion. I really like this guy. This guy is what Oxlade-Chamberlain could be for Arsenal, because Wenger was trying to give him that central attacking midfield role. He's got a similar sort of build and similar sort of approach play to Chamberlain as well. Like, they're both quite, I'm going to say stocky, I don't mean fat, I mean they're both quite big lads, but they've got the pace as well. So for me, again, he made the difference when he come on in that cup final. I think you could go up to a 77, yeah. He definitely deserves way more than 75, easily. 31 appearances for Crystal Palace this season. He scored 2 goals. He's got an average pass accuracy of 80%, which up until this point was the highest one that I'd seen in the Crystal Palace squad. And created 59 chances. Again, there's probably some assists in there as well, but I just couldn't quite work out how many assists there were exactly. So yeah, moving on to midfield partner James McArthur. Again, he's definitely a more defensive type of player, very different to the likes of PUNCHEON, but a crucial player again in the Crystal Palace squad. I think he could go up to about a 77 rating. Don't think he'll go up much higher than that, but I don't think he'll decrease either. Maybe if he does, only down to about a 75. I think he's along, the right sort of lines. with the 76 rating. 28 appearances this season with 2 goals. He's got an 85% pass accuracy, so I thought PUNCHEON was good. He's got 5% better. 5 yellow cards, but he's a holding midfielder, so that you would kind of, be expecting that. I'd say that's pretty much average. He's created 22 chances, and you'd be glad to know that I did manage to work out that 2 of those chances were assists. Moving on, oh dear me, what am I doing? I'm having a mare. There we go, back to Balassi. Right, how this guy doesn't have a better overall than the likes of Scott Dan and co, I fail to understand. Yannick Balassi for me is probably the most underrated winger in the Premier League. That's quite a statement, but I'm going to stand by it because, right, whoever you support, and don't be biased when you do this, right now, tell me who you support in the comments down below, and then tell me if or not you think he'd get into your side, because guaranteed, with 90% of the teams, possibly, in my opinion, if I was managing any BPL team and I needed a winger, I would be hitting this guy up like nobody's business. I would have managed to tie him down, definitely. If I was Crystal Palace manager, I'd be so blessed to have somebody as good as him on my side. And that, as you can tell, I'm a massive fan of Yannick Balassi. I think he's absolutely incredible. He's everything that we want Chamberlain or Walcott to be. He's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. Like I say, just one of the most underrated players going, and could, in my opinion, get into most Premier League sides. I'm not going to go and name all the Premier League sides and say whether or not he could get into their side. I want you to do that in the comments, so let me know who you support and let me know if you think he could get into your side or not. And guaranteed with most of you the answer would be yes, he would. And that doesn't just mean like, I'm going to say would he be on the bench as well, There's no sides where in the Premier League where in my opinion he wouldn't at least make the bench. There's just no side in my opinion, because at Arsenal, we've got Alexis Iwobi. Iwobi might be moved to a central attacking midfielder, but then we've got Ox, Walcott, who they haven't had great seasons, but in my opinion Balassi would get in ahead of the likes of Ox, Walcott, possibly Iwobi at this present moment in time, although Iwobi's another matter because he is on the rise. And I think he'll be big next season. But yeah, easily deserves an 80 rating for me. 26 appearances this season, 5 goals, 23 chances created and 3 assists. When you look at like only 3 assists, you're like, oh. But then you see the 23 chances created, and that just shows that he's done his bit. He's played the pass or whatever, or the cross into the box, and the attacker or whoever's on the end of it just hasn't done anything with it. So for me that shows that he could have had 23 assists. You look at PUNCHEON, could have had 59. But yeah, you know what I mean, that's the way I kind of look at it. Moving it, like if you put him into a team like Arsenal or your Chelsea's, Man United, Liverpool, Man City, with no offence Crystal Palace, but better strikers. I'm sorry Palace, okay, please don't hate me for that, but I'm sure most of you would admit that he would probably get more assists. Moving on, we've got GAYLE, 71 rated. I'm going to keep him with that 71 rating. He's only made 16 appearances this season, and 8 of those, so half of those appearances, he was just like a sub brought on from the bench, so probably hasn't had a lot of game time. I think in 5 of those games he was subbed off as well, and he only actually played 3 full games, or it could be the other way around. But yeah, he's got 3 goals, so when you think about that, in 16 appearances, that isn't really too bad. He scored against Stoke, and I absolutely love him for that, because I was in the pub at the time. Obviously, for those of you who don't know, I live in Stoke. If you're wondering what this weird accent is, it is the Stoke accent. I've heard worse than mine, but obviously with doing YouTube I've tried to change mine a little bit within these videos, because otherwise you guys would just absolutely rip into me. But yeah, I was in the pub and I think Stoke were winning, and then he scored, and I was just like, brilliant, get in. It was absolutely brilliant. Because Stoke fans obviously give me so much grief with me being an Arsenal fan, so it's just nice, you know, every now and then when karma gets them. But yeah, 2 yellow cards this season and 1 red card for GAYLE. Created 8 chances but didn't get any assists. Again, that's not really his fault. I think, in my opinion, he needs more games. He's still very young. He's the same age as Suarez, isn't he, I think. And you know, just probably they brought Adebayor in, and as you can see, I didn't actually put Adebayor in this video because he hasn't played that much for me to be able to comment on him. I think, like, with the arrival of Addy, I think maybe, and Connor Wickham kind of slowly starting to prove that he might be worth something. Obviously the likes of Fraser Campbell as well. They've got quite a lot of strikers now, and I think maybe GAYLE could be looking for a loan move to try and develop as a player, but he's definitely got the potential, you know, as you can see on his card. He's quite pacey, but he is short, and a striker, I just think, I don't know, you look at Michael Owen, he was obviously very short, but I just don't think having short strikers is great. Not when they're on their own anyway, but maybe up front with somebody tall like Wickham, he could work out. But yeah, anyway, moving on to Connor Wickham. He did get an upgrade card, I do believe, 74 rated. I think he's going to keep that. That was 74 rating, suits him quite nicely, I think. 21 appearances this season, subbed off 10 times in those, subbed on in 6, and played 5 full games. So yeah, he managed to get 5 goals, created 12 chances, and got himself 3 assists. Moving on to the bench now, the last 3 players. We have got Bakary Sakho, 75 rated. Think that about suits him. He could go down, but I don't know. Maybe that'd be a bit harsh. I think keeping him at the 75 seems about right. 20 appearances this season with 2 goals, 9 chances created, and just the 1 assist for him in the previous season. Moving on to the goalkeepers now. We've got Wayne Hennessey. I'm going to talk a little bit about him. Not really, it's difficult to talk about goalkeeping stats, so I'm not going to say any goalkeeping stats. 73 rated, think he could go up to about a 75. I think he's a pretty good goalkeeper, in total honesty. He's played a little bit this season. I think he played 29, something around that mark games. He's had a lot of injuries, this keeper has, a lot of setbacks in his career, but he's still one of them that on his day is fantastic, a really good goalkeeper. And I think obviously he just needs probably a little bit more time, you know, it's difficult because obviously when Speroni is fit, I don't think Hennessey is touching him, but you know, challenge him for that first team role. But obviously with Speroni being out, he's had some chances this season to show what he can do, and from what I've seen, he's pretty good. And yeah, that's pretty much. I don't really want to talk too much about him because it's difficult with outfield players. You can go on like pass accuracy, defensive errors, yellow cards, all that kind of thing. But with goalkeepers, it's quite difficult to talk about, like, you know, their ratings. In my opinion, they are quite difficult to kind of judge. Next, we've got Jordan Much. He is the last player, I do believe. Yeah. I couldn't believe actually how young he is. I thought he was way older than that. But yeah, 71 rated. I think he's going to keep that. I don't think he's going to increase or decrease. 20 appearances this season, subbed on 13 times. So from what I see, he's probably the kind of midfielder you'd bring on if you're like trying to protect a lead. You know, good, just a bit more defensive than your likes of PUNCHEON and co. Somebody to sit and hold with MacArthur. And just help out defensively with that. Well, with the defence, of course. Yeah, no goals, but 7 chances created and also no assists. So probably want to see a bit more from him. It's obviously quite difficult for him to get into the side when you've got the likes of MacArthur and PUNCHEON in there as well, and not forgetting Kabaye as well. I know you're all probably thinking, where's Kabaye? But because he was injured, he missed a lot of the season, I decided not to commentate on him. Comment on him. But if I show you his card, here's one of the first. Yeah, he's there. Look, Kabaye. I'll put him in for you all. 80 rated. He'll definitely keep that. He's a fantastic midfielder. And I think when Palace announced that they were signing him, I was really shocked. I thought that is a great bit of business by Crystal Palace there. I remember him from Newcastle very well, where I think he played a different role. I think he was asked to be more attacking than anything else at Newcastle, but here at Palace he's obviously got the CDM role, and he's got a more defensive ask on him now, but I think he does hold up pretty well. But again, he was injured for quite a bit, and that's the only thing with Kabaye. I do remember him suffering quite a bit with his injuries, so I know Arsenal were linked with him, and we were all iffing and ahhing, because we were like, he's got great potential, he's a great player, but he just gets injured too much. And with Arsenal's record, we could do with a player who is hard as nails and doesn't get injured every week. So yeah, but that does bring me to the end of this video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope it hasn't been too long for you all. I know I've gone over quite a little bit there, but yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll be doing some more of these, you'll be glad to know, or won't be glad to know, I'm not sure. If you do enjoy the series though, let me know in the comments down below. Drop that comment from earlier about Bolasie. I'll be interested to see how many of you also rate Bolasie. And yeah, leave a like rating if you enjoyed, guys. Help me get to 600 subscribers by hitting that sub button. Share it with your friends, etc, etc, and I'll see you all later.